Let me start with a number that might make you a little uncomfortable. Not 10%, not 20%, 46%. That's roughly how much of their income people in China save on average. Not invest, not retirement accounts. Save. For every $100 earned, about $46 is set aside. Now compare that to the United States. In 2025, the average savings rate there has been hovering around 4 to 5%, which means if two people earn the same amount of money, one might save almost half of it, while the other saves barely enough to cover a couple streaming subscriptions. So the question becomes obvious. What exactly is going on here? Why do some cultures build savings habits almost automatically, while others struggle to save anything at all? And more importantly, what can we learn from it? Because somewhere between TikTok shopping hauls, Amazon just one more thing purchases, and that one friend who buys a new iPhone every year like it's a seasonal fashion drop, a lot of us accidentally became professional spenders. The cultural difference nobody talks about. If you grow up in the West, especially in the United States, the system around you is designed for spending. Sales everywhere. Limited time offer. Only two left in stock. Buy now, pay later. You can literally finance a pizza now. There are apps that will happily split a $14 burrito into 4 easy payments. And if your phone hears you say the word gym once, congratulations, your Instagram ads are now 80% protein powder and $400 smart dumbbells. But historically, China developed a very different relationship with money. Saving money there isn't just a financial strategy, it's considered responsible behavior. Many families view saving the same way others might view working hard or getting good grades. It's simply what you're supposed to do. The first lesson happens when you're a kid. In many Chinese households, kids receive money during holidays in red envelopes. It's called lucky money. But here's the twist. Instead of immediately spending it on toys, games, or snacks, kids are often encouraged to save most of it. Imagine being 10 years old and your parents saying, you can spend a little, but most of that goes into savings. Meanwhile, in other parts of the world, 10-year-olds are converting birthday money directly into video game skins. Different mindset. Even the New Year greeting is about wealth. During Lunar New Year, there's a phrase people say to each other. It translates roughly to, I wish you prosperity. Not just happiness, not just good health, prosperity. Basically the cultural version of saying, hope your bank account is thriving this year, which honestly feels more honest than the typical New Year resolution of New Year, New Me, when we all know by February we're back on the couch eating snacks, watching YouTube. Demographics played a role too. Another reason saving became such a strong habit in China has to do with demographics. For decades, China had the one-child policy, which meant most families only had one child. This created an interesting dynamic. Parents focused heavily on supporting that single child's future, education, housing, and financial security. At the same time, it created intense competition in society. Financial stability became a big factor in long-term success. So saving money wasn't just about being cautious, it was about building opportunities for the future. Retirement anxiety is real. Another factor that encourages saving is uncertainty around retirement. In many Western countries, people rely on systems like pensions, retirement accounts, or social programs. But in many places around the world, people don't fully trust those systems to support them decades later. So instead of relying entirely on retirement programs, families build their own financial cushion. Which leads us to the most important secret. The biggest reason some people save consistently is actually very simple. They know exactly where their money goes. Every dollar. Tracked, planned, accounted for. There's a budgeting method that reflects this idea called zero-based budgeting. Here's the concept. At the start of the month, every dollar of your income gets assigned a job. Rent, groceries, transportation, savings, investments, entertainment. By the time you finish planning, your income minus your expenses equals zero. That doesn't mean you spend everything. It means every dollar is intentional. Without that structure, money tends to disappear, usually into things like random food delivery, online impulse purchases, subscriptions you forgot existed. Everyone has at least one subscription they forgot about. You check your bank statement and see $9.99 something, and you're like, I don't even know what this is anymore. 4 habits that make saving easier. Now let's talk about 4 everyday habits that make saving money much easier. One habit many disciplined savers follow is avoiding purchases that are only meant to impress other people. Luxury items aren't necessarily bad, but buying something purely to signal status can quickly drain your finances. The internet made this worse. Social media feeds are basically highlight reels of people's best financial decisions and worst financial decisions. Someone posts a new car, someone else posts a luxury vacation. Next thing you know, you're looking at flights like maybe I deserve a trip too. Meanwhile, your savings account quietly whispers, please don't. Another powerful principle is simple but difficult. Spend less than you earn. Sounds obvious, but in a world where influencers casually drop day-in-my-life videos that include $28 smoothies and $600 skincare routines, it's surprisingly easy to normalize expensive habits. Living below your means creates something powerful: margin. Margin is the difference between what you earn and what you spend. That margin becomes savings, and savings eventually become freedom. Needs first, wants later. Another lesson is separating needs from wants. Needs are things that genuinely improve your health, safety, or productivity. Wants are, well, that gadget you saw in a TikTok ad at 1:30 a.m. that folds laundry, cooks pasta, and probably spies on you. Thoughtful spending means prioritizing purchases that deliver long-term value. If you buy something expensive but use it daily for years, the cost becomes very small over time. But buying things that quickly lose value, that's the financial equivalent of ordering food delivery when there's perfectly good food in the fridge. And finally, one of the most powerful money habits is actually the simplest. Eat at home more often. Food delivery is convenient, but it's also sneaky expensive. Between delivery fees, service fees, tip, and mystery fee number 3, a $12 meal somehow becomes $28. Cooking at home might not feel glamorous, but it can save thousands of dollars per year. Plus, there's something timeless about sharing meals at home with friends or family. Even in a world filled with apps, algorithms, and AI, some of the best habits are still the oldest ones. The real lesson. The biggest lesson from all of this isn't about copying another culture. It's about understanding that financial habits shape financial outcomes. Saving money rarely happens by accident. It happens through small choices repeated consistently. Tracking spending, avoiding unnecessary status purchases, living slightly below your means, and planning for the future instead of reacting to the present. Because at the end of the day, wealth doesn't usually come from one big decision. It comes from thousands of small ones. And if you found this interesting, let me know in the comments, what's the best money habit you've learned so far? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.